Welcome again back to Spirit Side Chats. Tonight I'm with Tiger Coll, the CEO of Wayshowers. Tiger's a special guy. He's been working with spiritual things his whole life. But the thing I love about Tiger is he's not a woo-woo. He's a down-to-earth guy. In
We
fact,
have that written down, by the way. The woo-woo part, that's written down.
Yeah, well, that's a quote from my partner in crime, partner in life, it's partner in spiritual things, not crime really, Teresa Shantz. Tiger was in the Navy. He's been a builder, he's worked construction, and he's also transformed a business that his father started way back in the 60s. And believe it or not, it has to do with spiritual growth. What the hell is spiritual growth, Tiger?
I wake up every morning wondering about that myself. I tell you what, spiritual growth is all about making sure that tomorrow is as good or better than today.
I like that. That's a really good line. It's very pithy. And it's
I practiced it in the mirror a couple of times.
It's good. It's good. It's taking my advice these days.
You have to learn from your elders.
Yes. I've known Tiger for quite a while. And but in some
I still hang out with him.
I still hang out with him, and in some ways it's I can't believe it, because every day's a new day, and that's how it is here in the spiritual world. But what we want to talk about tonight is what's been on my mind,
Do tell.
Tiger.
Do tell.
Is
it
that
salacious?
It could be. We can get into some of that.
Before I wasn't quite sure about this podcast, but I'm suddenly interested.
He's suddenly interested. And we will do things to keep your interest, folks, even though we're here to talk about
I want to hear more about the salacious part.
spiritual things. Okay, my mind is a blank. But that's because let's just say my needs are very well satisfied at home. So, where I was going to begin tonight in our spirit side chats, we got the fireside, the spirit, is, our goal is to help people relate to this on a more practical day-to-day level.
Right.
So we're goofing around a little bit, and we had some nice sushi and a little bit of sake, but one of the things that's in my mind, and lately, and after I'm a little relaxed, is I love to talk about how a lot of spiritual truth has always been there. And, we were talking a little earlier where I saw a show about Egypt, and they were uncovering some old tombs and so forth, and I learned a little bit more about what the ancient Egyptians believed about, life after death and resurrection and mummies, and it kind of, the penny dropped for me, as we say, it hit me, because I was raised Catholic, and we talked about, they taught us about Jesus rising from the dead and resurrection and all that kind of stuff. But, there seems to be a theme throughout mankind where there is something beyond the physical, and that messages from the spirit, which I would define as just those who have come before us. Those divine, what we call divine entities, or, divine souls, or souls that have mastered life here on planet Earth. Because in my view, planet Earth's like a big school. Well, I have no proof for that, except for that when I look around, there's all sorts of levels of consciousness here. So I would like to talk to you tonight a little bit about how you found, how do you feel about that spiritual truth has been here in one form or another through many different religions, through many different time frames?
Well, how do I start off? I'd say I'd start off by saying there's nothing new under the sun. That means all the great things you know about, have learned about, they've just been regurgitated. In other words, someone tossed it out there ages ago, and that person tossed it out from someone ages ago, and that person tossed it out from someone ages ago. So we haven't really, from our concepts that we're working with, we haven't really changed that much. But we do, you know. But thank goodness this is what this place is all about. You know, we can sit here and have this fireside, spirit side chat, and you can bet that someone long ago, both women and man, were doing this a long time ago, and their predecessors were doing it. And
Sitting around the campfire back then.
yeah, roasting weenies, something like that. It's like, but the point is that it's just been around, and we've developed in this day and age where we are now. We've just developed a beautiful high art of being able to communicate with people and do things. But in the end, the basics are the key, and they've been around forever, and they're going to continue to be around long after you and I are gone.
You know, one of the things I like about the Wayshowers College and some of the work that your father did was that he simplified in what we call an orientation lecture, Man in the Universe or Man in His Universe, and you've written a book called The Real You, Foundations of the Real You, which goes over this as well, is that the spiritual truths are actually very simple and clear. I'm a soul. I have a purpose. Planet Earth's a big school where I come to learn and grow. I actually, believe it or not, have spiritual helpers who have mastered planet Earth to help me in this spiritual growth. And did I forget one of the other ones?
Freedom.
And I'm free. So as a soul, I'm free. Planet Earth is just one place where I'm going to incarnate and learn lessons. And from here I can move out or I can move in and out. In fact, in my view, my intellect probably doesn't really grasp all of the options available. And in that, you know, in the Catholic Church, they used to teach us that, you know, well, it's a mystery. Well, that's a mystery, and this is a mystery. And some of you folks that have been raised Catholic will relate to what I'm saying. And there's some truth in that, in the sense that my intellect isn't going to necessarily understand it all, because it's limited to where here I am on planet Earth. But in my true feelings, or in my soul part, I have a feeling for that. I have a feeling for the possibilities, or the bigger picture that I'm free as a soul. So what do you have to say about that?
I'd say we're not free enough.
We're not free enough.
We're not free enough. Because if we were free enough, we wouldn't have half the problems that we've got.
Well, here in the system, you're saying. Now you're
That's
talking
right.
about the system of
That's what I'm
planet
talking
Earth.
about. I'm saying that that's what we're here for. But that's what I get at what you're saying. Is that at the end of the day, I'm here to learn and grow. The system has been here at one level or another.
Yeah.
One level or another has been here for thousands of things. Organized society has been here for a long time. And we keep repeating the same thing, which is a good thing. And it gives me opportunity. And if I'm not seeing it that way, then I'm effed up. It's
Well,
that simple. If I don't see it as an opportunity,
Uh-huh.
I'm effed up.
And so, you know, what resonates with me is that I chose to be here.
Ooh.
Now, when I
Don't say
first
that too
heard
loud.
that,
Make
when I
it-
first
somebody
heard that, I
pissed off
said,
about that.
what, maybe, really? I chose to be in this mess? But if I tune into what I feel, my true feelings, not my emotions, which are like feelings I've been taught to feel, or plastic feelings. If I tune into my true feelings and I remember what it was like when I was 3. I walked around and everything was great. And you know what? As I get older, what's cool about all that is that I'm kind of more in that place again. The little things in life, the beauty around me, because you get to my age, in my 60s, where you realize you're gonna pass on at some point. And it does go fast, and I better enjoy every moment
Thank
while
God
I'm here.
for that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being here forever? No, I mean, this is the thing, right? I mean, everybody is going to run and jump for joy to go and say, oh, but my childhood had all this abuse and, or my thing wasn't so great, or I had this great thing. Well, welcome to the club.
Yeah.
I mean, now we're going to get into measuring that whose pain was worse than the other pain. I mean, what the hell is that?
It's called a glory trip.
It is a glory trip, I mean, I don't mean to burst anybody's bubble, but, I mean, I had plenty of things that I just don't dwell on them. I have plenty of things of where people took advantage of me, but I'm not going to dwell on it. It bothered me at the time. It was pretty rough at the time, but every single person knows the difference between freedom and bondage. No one has to be taught that.
We all relate at some level.
Not one person. That's innate, right? And everybody knows what innate is, right? It means that you have it inside. You're born with it. You didn't have to be taught it. We know the difference instinctively between freedom and bondage. And the situations that I've gone through that were shit compared to the situations that were gone that were great, right? I know the difference of what is for me and what is not for me. And I can either keep bringing that nastiness into my life. Every new thing I create, I'll bring this nastiness in. Every new thing I create, I'll bring some more nastiness in. I can either keep doing that, or I can keep building freedom and freedom and freedom and freedom. And that's what is the bottom line, right? That's the hard truth that I'm either going to have to accept, or I'm going to keep being a broken record. He brought that up earlier.
Yeah.
About the broken record of the same crap, right? And I'm not trying to tell you to eat crow or anything. I'm saying I do the same thing in certain ways. But the big stuff, I'm starting to shed that because I can't afford it. I can't afford it. All the pain that happened in your life, all the pain that happened in our life, you can tell your rough story about your parents and your dad and, all the rough stuff that happened. You can keep bringing that in, or it becomes, okay, this is how I'm going to work with it. Right?
Well, and for me, the thing that's really helped is when I look at the positive qualities of the people that raised me, there's a lot that I attracted some wonderful people in the positive areas.
No, that's the red pill, right? That's a huge pill to swallow. Like, they give in the Matrix, this pill, you're going to stay in the Matrix. This pill, you're going to go out. The pill is that people are doing the best they know how, or they're acting on whatever. I still have to live my life.
Yeah.
And that's what I hear you saying, is that even if it's an abusive situation, even if it's a not so good situation, I need to make a clear distinction of what's me and what's them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to start thinking that it's me. I'm going to buy in that, oh, so-and-so used to beat me up when I was a kid, or so-and-so abused of me, when I was, play with me or whatever. I can go there, But the bottom line is, what do I want to bring forward? Because if I don't accept that, if you don't accept that, then you are denying your divinity. It sounds easy when we're talking in this little chat with the fire there, but that's it. If I don't accept that I'm free and I have all the power, no matter what, then I'm denying the God power within. I'm denying the deity that I am, because I have the power to create. Every day I have the power to create. And that's what Tom is saying, is that he's got the power to say, no, I'm going to use the affirmation for me. I see the positive quality that in that situation. I see that for all of the goods and bads, how that has accelerated me to get to where I need to be. You go look in history, I make a big conversation about it. You go look at history, the people who created great stuff, they didn't have a perfect upbringing.
No.
You don't hear, I had this perfect upbringing, so I had this perfect thing, and then I led all these people to this perfect thing. No, quite the opposite.
Most of them didn't.
Most of them was like rough, nasty stuff, and then they moved forward because
Or at
all
least
of
they
that,
had their challenges.
yeah, because all of that created a situation for me and for you to say, boom, I'm going to do this. And it projected me forward.
In some ways, those people are lucky when they have that kind of lucky
Direction.
You know what you don't want, so you go for what
That's
you want.
right. You know what you don't want. Yeah, I know that one of my more favorite saints, I was talking about being the Catholic, is Francis of Assisi. We were just talking about this at dinner earlier.
Uh-huh.
And people associate Francis of Assisi with this beautiful piece. And as a matter of fact, we paint pictures of him with the bird.
He loved the birds.
And all that, because that was a symbol of the message from Spirit and so forth. But in reality, he was one of the people that was well written about, because it was closer to our history as opposed to way further back. And this guy was he was a young, tough guy, and he would go out and fight in the Crusades. And if you know anything about the Crusades, that wasn't exactly the place where you went and did nice stuff.
Yeah.
You do nice stuff on the Crusades. My point for bringing that up is not to put down the Crusades. I'm just saying that Spirit has this way of working through people who make the transformation in themselves and then commit to what it is they've come to do. And that's the power. That's the inspiration, because I become a channel. You become a channel for the bigger picture because you are firm in who you are. And it doesn't matter whether you're man or woman, by the way, right? Don't get caught up in that. This is about you being clear with what you need and want. The moment you're clear with what you need and want, then the Spirit, or whatever you want to call that, the inspiration, the creativity, the all, God, whatever, blah, 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 then they can work with you. But if you don't know what the hell you want, then it's hit and miss. It's hit and miss.
I notice when I work with Spirit, when I work with my spiritual helpers, who are those 100% positive, whole energy. And they're very directed. They've mastered the lessons that I've come to learn. In fact, I picked a team that has mastered lessons that I'm here right now to work on. And it doesn't matter who I might have been in the past and who I might be in the future. Right now, what matters is what lessons I've come to learn. And what's weird about that, like this is a weird part, that's where the fulfillment is. That's where the fun is. That's where the excitement is. So for those who are walking around with feeling like what's the meaning of life and I'm bored, that's just a decoy to keep you not focused from what you've come to learn and grow with. I know a young lady that I've learned to trust my sensitivity, my psychic ability, which is no big deal. Everybody I know is psychic. I have one of my father.
Are men psychic?
Or some of our
Real
mentors.
men?
They'd say, "Oh no, that's not true. I've never met a more intuitive guy in my whole life." And everybody knows, when you were a little kid and you told a little fib, and it pissed you off because your parents knew it. And you're like, how do you know that? Well, no, and you fight them. But because they're sensitive. Or because people can read you. That's all about sensitivity. Anyways, we're going to talk about that one in another Spirit Side chat. And we'll get really involved in sensitivity. So, anyways, we're talking about purpose, and my purpose is a little different than your purpose, and you're going to attract situations for you to learn. There's no greater. Here's the thing, the folks that say
men have to compete, though.
Well, you can get caught in that. Mine is the best for me, and yours is the best for you. So, here's the thing. Naturally, I almost said it. Here's how I see it, is that naturally we have this sense that spiritually there is no greater or lesser than. Because the only difference between me is my experience and your experience. And there's certain areas that I have mastered, and there's certain areas that I'm kind of a dummy in here on planet Earth. And I know what they are.
You said it.
I know what they are. I'm not going to tell you what they are. And don't tell my wife what they are either, but she probably already knows. But you know, there's certain things that I've mastered, and everybody's like that. Our leaders are like that. People we look up to are like that, and we play this game in society. We love to go, oh my God, the guy that I thought was so great, he fails in this area. He's fallen off the pedestal. That's a big game. He's here to learn and grow. She's here to learn and grow. You're here to learn and grow. I'm here to learn and grow. And when I start to accept myself, then be patient with myself as I'm learning and growing. It's amazing how patient I am. So the Master Jesus talked a lot about that, forgiveness, patience, and all those kind of things. And all that spiritual truth is always been here. Because, the more I look into what he said, there were guys who said some of that stuff before he said it. All this truth has always been with us, I guess, to come back to this. And maybe my comment to folks would be, trust yourself, because innately you know. Innately you know what's fair for you and what's fair for others. But start with yourself first, and then it's easier for that echo to move out into the environment.
Yeah, I mean, to add to that, I mean, we're talking a lot of things that are just kind of, you have to kind of believe in your guts. And, where do you go from there? I mean, it's like, I live in a world where, if you're not a man if you do X, and now the world is saying, well, you got to be this kind of metrosexual, I don't even know what it is anymore.
That's an old term.
Like, I don't know what it is. It's like you kind of be whatever, and they either here or there. My grandfather used to say, are you Mickey Mouse or Minnie Mouse, pal? But what I'm trying to say there is that internally, there is no gauge. I have to just go by what I feel in my guts. And that's what we call your true feelings. And there is no measure. You have to just go by there. Externally, however, there are measures that can help me to get me from point A to point B. But what I'll lose if I'm not balancing those two worlds, right? My internal and external, my spiritual and material, my intellect and my feeling. If I'm not balancing those two worlds, then what happens is I'll get fixed. I'll get stuck in a picture, right? And I'll think, and this is what, Tom, you're bringing up, is that I'll get fixed in my heroes, or, the politician I vote for, or this perfect person that's going to be my partner, or whatever the deal is. And, God forbid I should roll back the curtain and see that, oh my God, they put on both pants and they make poop just like me, although that could be a fetish. But besides that, but besides that, the point is that, this is an old story, right? Don't ever get to know your heroes. Why I'm bringing it up is because there are external prototypes, right? Mark that down. Prototype. Right? What is a prototype? If you go look in the definition of the dictionary, what is a prototype? A prototype is something that you utilize and develop so that you can get to over here to what the final product's going to be, right?
That's right.
So everyone that you see out there is a prototype. It's a prototype, guys. So every macho man, every feminine man, everything in between, they're prototypes. That's your job, is to discern the prototypes, see what works, try it out, keep moving forward. Because you're the end. We're the end.
Well, in a way, that's where you get to this point where I'm going to be my own prototype.
That's exactly right. And why does he say he's going to be his own prototype? He's saying that because that means he's willing to shed stuff that doesn't belong. Even himself. So he stops looking from the outside, and now he's taking on his own world. And now he's even willing to shed that to keep being who he is. So that's the ultimate. right? That's the ultimate, is you start getting to this place where you recognize that your ideas, your emotions, all these things are just prototypes. They're helping you get from here to there. And I don't care whether you're man or woman, this is a reality for you as the soul. As a soul.
Well,
this is the reality of who you are. This is why you're here.
The soul has no color.
That's right.
No sex, no religion. It's just we're energy. We're light beings. And when I look, getting back to where we started was, if I look at the things I know about, I'm not great with Buddha and I'm not great with Hinduism, although I've been, exposed to a little bit of it. If I think about the Greek gods, I mean, they're just prototypes. They're just divine beings. Well, it's a divine quality that people started looking at. And at that stage of evolvement for them, But there are people that have believed in spiritual guidance or spiritual helpers for eons. This is nothing new. Aristotle brought up the concept of soulmates. Do the homework, check it out, fact check that one. We have a good friend Karen that, filled me in on that one, who loves that sort of thing. And, whilst these folks of old or antiquity didn't have all the answers, they had a lot of truth pop through. We're talking about the ancient Egyptians, and this idea of life after death and reincarnation and the way they interpreted it, So nothing's new. There's ancient Roman peoples or Italian peoples that believed in getting messages from spirit. So all this stuff has been around for a long time. Today, we're working with a simpler and clearer message and let you interpret what works for you.
Yeah, I think to kind of start wrapping it up, I think the bottom line is that if you're ready to take your personal growth, your spiritual unfoldment to the next level, then seek this out. Seek what's here out, what we're talking about, because it will take you on a journey that will accelerate what you've come to do here. So another way to say that is, we can help with, instead of taking a lifetime to unfold certain things, it can be done very quickly. And that's what I'm getting from what you're saying, Tom, is that in the end, these little tools and techniques, and whilst we're having fun and chatting here and stuff, ultimately it's going to come down to you and your experience and you exploring it, right? And there's a lot of people, listen, there's an army of people who've been trained as good or better than us, and they can help you take the next step. And that's all they're going to do. They're going to help you take the next step. Because for all of the great things out there, there is orders of magnitude greatness in what you've come to do and what's going to come out of you, right? And I'm not just saying that for like a rah, 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 rah. It is a rah, rah, rah. But I'm saying that because no one knows you like you. There is no pattern just like you. So there's not going to be any journey that's perfectly made other than the one you've created. So there's nothing new under the sun, but there's going to be this unique pattern that you have to do. So find a way to connect with these people and get connected with your helpers, spiritual helpers. Find out your spiritual gifts. Get on that path, because it will accelerate what you've come to do. It's going to accelerate what you're already going to do anyway. Like if you're listening to this and you've stayed for this full thing, then the chances are is you've come to do some of this work, right? Otherwise you would have turned us off. So find a way to take the next step. Work with these people who have the sincerity to take the next step for themselves, because all they're going to do is pass on what they've learned. They can't tell you what's right. They're going to tell you what they've learned. And so that's the key, is we started this conversation with the ancient Egypt and all this stuff, and it's just, we're trying to say that this energy and this knowledge, this wisdom has been here for a long time, and it's just waiting there to be picked up, for you to pick it up and take and run with it, so you can go to your next place and your next evolution.
For you to interpret it for yourself, and for you to become your own best prototype, to really feel happy and free, to follow through with your heart's desire as you rally the forces within to live a more successful, fulfilling, and a lot more fun in life.
Yeah.
We don't have any answers for you, but we can help you begin to discover how to work with your answers every single day.
So here's your challenge. Here's your challenge. How would you like to have less suffering and enjoy every day better?
Oh, but it hurts so good.
Every day better tomorrow than you had today. That if today was an awesome day, what would it be like to have tomorrow is even better?
Despite what's going on around you.
That's exactly right. I challenge you to find that path.
Well, folks, thank you for letting us share. Go to tntspiritworks.com. We are here to be of service.
Hoo-yah.